If you look for perfection, you'll never be content. We can know only that we know nothing, and that is the highest degree of human wisdom. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. When you love someone, you love the person as they are, and not as you'd like them to be. Muhammad has always been standing higher than Christianity. He does not consider God as a human being, and never makes himself equal to God. It is amazing how complete is the delusion. That beauty is goodness. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. I think if it is true that there are as many minds as there are heads, then there are as many kinds of love as there are hearts. There is no greatness where there is not simplicity, goodness, and truth. Respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow. But this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them. Every art has its own skeleton. Rummaging in our souls, we often dig up something that ought to have lain there unnoticed. Wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority share in it. Muslim worship. Nothing except God, and Muhammad is his messenger. There is no mystery and secret in it. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Every lie is a poison. There are no harmless lies. Only the truth is safe. Only the truth gives me consolation. It is the one unbreakable diamond. We lost because we told ourselves we lost. Happiness does not depend on outward things, but on the way we see them. A man is like a fraction, whose numerator is what he is, and whose denominator is what he thinks of himself. The larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. Music is the shorthand of emotion. Man cannot possess anything as long as he fears death, but to him who does not fear it, everything belongs. If there was no suffering, man would not know his limits, would not know himself. How can one be well when one suffers morally? If you make it a habit not to blame others, you will feel the growth of the ability to love in your soul, and you will see the growth of goodness in your life. Anything is better than lies and deceit. In the name of God, stop a moment. Cease your work. Look around you. He stepped down, trying not to look long at her, as if she were the sun. Yet he saw her. like the sun, even without looking. If you want to be happy, be. Everything is united by it alone. Love is God. And to die means that I, a particle of love, shall return to the general and eternal source. Is it really possible to tell someone else what one feels? Because of the self-confidence with which he had spoken, no one could tell whether what he said was very clever or very stupid. Death is finished. It is no more. Everything is. Everything exists only because I love. It's much better to do good in a way that no one knows anything about it. The best stories don't come from good versus bad, but good versus good. If everyone fought for their own convictions, there would be no war. Spring is the time of plans and projects. Love. The reason I dislike that word is that it means too much for me, far more than you can understand. There is trouble with a wife, but it's even worse with a woman who is not a wife. Patience is waiting, not passively waiting. That is laziness, but to keep going when the going is hard and slow. If you love me as you say, she whispered, do so that I may be at peace. Love does not exist. There exists the physical need for intercourse and the rational need for a mate in life. All the variety, all the charm, all the beauty of life is made up of light and shadow. Nothing is so necessary for a young man as the company of intelligent women. All great literature is one of two stories. A man goes on a journey or a stranger comes to town. Be bad, but at least don't be a liar, a deceiver. Pierre was right when he said that one must believe in the possibility of happiness in order to be happy, and I now believe in it. Let the dead bury the dead, but while I'm alive, I must live and be happy. Boredom, the desire for desires. I always loved you, and if one loves anyone, one loves the whole person, just as they are and not as one would like them to be. Strong people are always simple.